And we're live.
Excellent.
So, welcome everyone to our weekly The Mandalorian sort of spoiler chat, where we play SWTOR with our bounty hunters and chat about the most recent episode of the Mandalorian series on Disney Plus that's just finished airing. So
Got
I
a few
am
more
on my
things.
I'm on
Few more
my
things to talk about today too. By the way, the internet's been panning out.
yes. As I was saying, I am on my Kamiro Power Tech, and I'm joined by Toombs as
Hey there.
his mercenary bounty hunter. And so we're going to talk about the Mandalorian episode, and I'm sure we'll cover the amazing Star Wars news that came out from the Disney Investor Day web stream, where they revealed a lot of awesome Star Wars news, upcoming series and movies, and just a lot of goodies.
Yeah, I mean we've been pretty busy today, so it's been full on. Apart from real life stuff, we spend a lot of the day trying to keep track and work out exactly how to digest all the information that was coming out of the Disney Investor webcast over on the SWTOR website, which we've talked about before. We have actually compiled that information because there was just so much of it. You really sort of need to break it down into a structured list to really appreciate everything there. Our main focus tonight is to talk about the Mandalorian episode, which is just screened, but I'm sure once we get through some of that information, we'll talk a little bit about some of the other content that we're expecting to see coming up on Disney Plus. I mean, it's strongly related to the Mandalorian episodes, in that it is that same sort of format. So I'll just take a couple of minutes here to get organized. We're on the planet Balmorra, which is an imperial base in this timeline, and we're just going to run through some daily content in the background while we have a bit of a chat and voice chat, and keep an eye on the Twitch stream text chat. So if you've got anything you want to talk about in regards to that episode of The Mandalorian, jump on in, keep an eye on chat, and get some dialogue up and running.
Yeah, it's a fun way to just spend the evening sort of decompressing after the awesomeness of just watching the latest Mando episode, and being in a format that lets us talk about spoilers that isn't on social media, where people can get spoiled if they haven't watched it straight away. We always make sure that we watch the episodes like as soon as they screen, because we're desperately keen to watch, and they screen at a pretty good time for us. It's 9 p.m. on a Friday evening, so that fits in really well with jumping back in and playing a little bit of SWTOR. SWTOR itself has had some really cool updates and story added, which
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah,
admit that I have not played the new content just yet. I've been busy with some live stuff, so we're keen to jump in and do that tomorrow.
Yep,
So we'll be just talking about the Mando episode and the Disney Plus announcements today, of which there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, but I'll just touch on that topic since you brought it up. For those that aren't familiar with SWTOR quite as much, because we've got people in chat who play SWTOR and who have joined us from other forums. SWTOR had its 6.2 story release just overnight, and as well as was it yesterday now? I'm losing track now. It's Friday, so it's yesterday.
Yeah.
As well as an increment in the story that you can play through with your characters. They've made some pretty cool advances in user interface type updates that are kind of fun, making emotes and other sort of role-playing character activities a little bit more easy to access. There's some new gear in the game, and we've just started some new armor, some new vehicles. We've just started looking through some of that, and yeah, like Anara said, we're super excited to get into the actual story content, because from what we've heard, the story content in SWTOR is a really exciting and satisfying chapter that I've only heard positive things about, but that's something we'll look at over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, some of the new stuff that they've added is the Forge Master's armor set that is inspired, of course, by the armorer from the Mandalorian, and the set that I am super excited about is the Jedi Knight Ribbon armor set. It's a bit expensive because I want the matching lightsaber with the Prodigal Knight bundle, but yep, that's definitely on my shopping list. I kind of whittled down all my cartel coins from the most recent half off unlock sale, so might have to treat myself to some cartel coins to grab that, because I am a big Revan fan and I want that armor for one of my characters. But anyway, let's
Still
get started.
Yeah, let's jump in.
So we'll start at the top, run our way down. Cool.
Go for it. So we're still waiting to see blurgs as rideable mounts in SWTOR.
Yes.
That information has been data mined, I believe. So not everything that's data mined makes it to the live version of the game, but fingers crossed, because I've been a fan of blurgs since the blue pit.
Yep, Luca Blue.
I don't have a blurg on this one, but I've
He's
got blurgs
cute
on other characters.
and grumpy.
But I've been a bit of a fan of blurgs since the Ewok movies in the 80s, partly because they're so closely related and sort of overall look to Dewbacks. So it's super cool to see them in the more modern era, and I totally want one in this game.
Yeah.
Right, let's get running over here. We're just going to run through conversations and so forth in the background. What we're doing now is just daily activities, just bread and butter stuff in game to earn some credits and gear.
I keep forgetting if my bounty hunters are light side or dark side. I made the guess that this one was light side, and I'm right.
Yep.
So, welcome, Jalari Renzel. Thanks for joining us. She says, "Oh my goodness, the seismic charges are back. I can die happy now." Yeah, that was definitely a very exciting moment in the most recent episode. I think I was shrieking pretty loud when I was like, "Oh, I hope they do it. I hope they do it." And then, yep, that's such an iconic moment from Attack of the Clones and, of course, Slave One. I am just so excited. And it was fun seeing inside Slave One a little bit more as well. That was quite fun.
There's some really cool things. I mean, the story was just a necessary part of the story to progress the pursuit and recovery of Grogu, Baby Yoda. So a lot of what we're talking about today is just smaller details in some ways. Things that we sort of saw on screen, details that we're going to ingest a lot more the second time round. Really cool things like the variants of the tank driver armor from Rogue One and the shore trooper armor from Rogue One. That awesome articulated Juggernaut tank variant that they hijacked, and other cool little things, thermal detonators, the SR-71s that all the Imperials were using for their sidearms. One of the things that really jumped out, as Larry says, is Boba Fett's armor repaint.
That was fun. Sort of seeing what it would look like with its, I guess, original shiny clean paint app. The first thing it made me think of was the vintage action figures. It didn't have the exact detailed paint app of the sort of modern figures, and of course, as we see the armor in the film, so having that tidy red and green paint app is really fun to see.
Yeah, it really did make me think of the large size of 12-inch action figure from 1980. But it was cool to see him with it all sort of sorted out. Like when he first wore it last time, he had just put it on over the robes he was wearing. This time he had to sort of upload the gown. It's a little bit more optimized. He also had his EE3 blaster rifle from somewhere.
It might have just been in Slave One. We just didn't see it.
Yeah, right.
Because he had his ship, so I guess he just had it tucked away, and he's pulling it out now because he
just seemed to be using. I guess there's a range difference with the Tuscan rifle, Tuscan weapon he was using in the previous episode.
Yeah,
but
that was
very interesting to see that.
Yeah, so there was some speculation that this episode would be more of a prison break, but it didn't actually.
They simplified that.
Yeah. So they kind of.
Out of the way right at the start.
Fred5 standing by says, "Hey guys, glad to have you with us. We're just getting started in our SWTOR dailies and just sort of chatting a little bit about the Mando episode, talking about the amazing seismic charges. That was one of my favorite highlights from that particular episode, and Boba Fett's newly painted armor. That was kind of fun little bonus in there. Wouldn't have expected that he might have had time, but obviously his armor plays a big importance to him, so get to see it in.
It was interesting that he chose pretty much an identical paint job.
Yeah.
Didn't bother going for any upgrades. Obviously, the color scheme is important to him.
Yeah.
I reckon, one way or another. I like the color schemes. Just speaking of armors and paint jobs of the Juggernaut tank drivers. That sort of metallic, that dark metallic grey.
Fred says Boba must have had a spare rifle after Luke cut his last one in half. Yeah. So, yeah, whether he's traded with one in Tatooine or something like that and had it stashed away in his Slave One. But yeah, that was fun to see him looking a little bit more complete with his armor and gear. We'll just go around here and do the bonus.
And he's obviously still with the team for the final episode. Obviously they're reliant on him as an Uber driver. And the lineup's getting really cool. I just when the end credits do something like that. When the end credits came around, it was just really interesting to see how big the lineup was with Ming-Na Wen. I mean, we obviously saw it during the episode, but it's just cool to see it fully itemised on the credits. Ming-Na Wen and Giancarlo Esposito and
no Baby Yoda.
Of course. No, he wasn't in the episode at all.
He wasn't in it. No. We don't know his condition. We don't know if he's okay, if he's strapped down getting blood extracted or what's going on. Which, I kind of expected we might check in with him at the end of the episode, but no, they're kind of giving us a little bit of peril there. We don't really know how he's faring. And I think that also, of course, the sort of the big shocker from this episode, of course, was Din Djarin taking his helmet off. I was not expecting that, and I think it really sort of underscored how serious he is about getting Grogu back, as we saw at the end with his sort of hollow message threat to Moff Gideon. He was I've got skills and I will find you. That was he means business, which I'm hoping we see some sort of real epic showdown. We've only got one episode to go, where hopefully they give us a good running length time for this last one, that they don't leave too many. I know they're going to give us some loose threads for the next season, but hopefully it's not too many, that there'll be at least a little bit wrapped up. Are we going to see Thrawn?
Well, we may.
Is that going to be a thread for next season?
Here's the things. Taking it for a really long time. I mean, the whole helmet off scene. I had a feeling they might take his helmet off at some point during this episode. It just felt like something that was necessary to parallel the episode 1, the season 1 episode where he took his helmet off. So, but it was interesting to see how they enacted that. And it really tied it into the story to convey the significance of, how meaningful it was for him to, make sure he got Baby Yoda back.
Yeah,
Planet was like Hawaii. Yeah, those flyovers, the high level shots of the tank track. It looked
I said that when we were watching it too. I was like, I at this point they are getting so slick with their use of the digital sets that I'm just at a loss as to try and figure out what is real and what is like a digital projection that's just in the background. I mean, when they're in the tanks, it fully looks like they're rolling through some jungle.
Yeah, the top of the
I
tank they
just
must
don't
have
know.
constructed for those fight scenes.
Yeah,
But
but
the rate
everything
at
looks
which
like it's moving, and the sort of
yeah,
oscillation of going over
obviously
terrain.
you can have a moving CG background, but when the people fell off it, when the
Mm,
natives guys, the pirates fell off it, they had momentum,
yeah,
which was really interesting to try and unravel.
yeah. Um, and it's sort
I
of
like the helmet
interesting.
off. I
Um,
like the helmet off scene though.
yeah,
He did it. Liked how uncomfortable he looked, but how it
yeah.
played out in general. And this time around, we didn't even talk about it just yet. I actually quite enjoyed Bill Burr's characterization um, of his character in
Mayfield.
general.
Mm.
Yeah, he had a lot more depth. Obviously anyone
We think
who's
he's a bit of a vicious character, and the first time we see him, and then the sort of the getting a little bit more of his backstory with the Imperial experience and the what was it, Operation Cinder,
Operation Cinder, yeah.
which is a reference
That's
to Battlefront and
Shattered Empire, so it's all immediately
yeah.
post Return of the Jedi.
So yeah, he's obviously on the fringe of the galaxy, but he's seen what the Empire can do firsthand, and so that was sort of interesting. Johnny Cage says Boba is Mando whipped. I think it's interesting to we'll see if they sort of give us a reason why he feels so indebted to Mando. Sort of pledging to protect Grogu in exchange for his armor. Does he feel some sort of loyalty because Grogu is essentially a foundling, and so there's sort of a creed, as it were, to protect foundlings, to the extent that we're seeing him. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of Boba Fett exhibiting his skills on screen in this series. This was very much a story arc for the Mandalorian development, with him being sort of the central figure, with even Fennec and Cara Dune being more supporting characters in this episode, and Grief Karga wasn't there at all.
No, but just on that topic, given everything we learnt today, it was the rumoured Boba Fett series was noticeably absent from the confirmed list. Whether or not, but there was other series, both the Ahsoka and the Rangers of the New Republic, that are going to cross over with Mandalorian. I think I heard today, I'm not sure if it was from a official source, but Mandalorian Season 3 might start a little bit later next year.
Filming.
Or screening.
Oh, okay.
So whether or not that's to try and fit in or line up timelines with the other live action series that are going to be streaming.
I mean, I can see them kind of playing that a little close to the chest. I mean, people had been talking about a Kenobi, movie or series for ages before they finally confirmed it. That had been pretty much public knowledge well before they finally got Ewan McGregor on stage and let everyone know what was going on.
Yeah. Look, I know Boba Fett didn't do a lot in this episode, but Cara Dune and Fennec Shand were sort of on the sidelines as well, obviously sniping from a distance in a useful way, and obviously Boba Fett had his role to play with the ship and the escape. But I think that was mainly just because this was a story about Dune with Mayfield as the supporting character and the whole emotion surrounding the helmet removal.
Yeah, well, he's I think in a way, like,
The
because
rumours of Pedro leaving aren't to be believed.
because when we see Boba on his ship, when they're talking, he doesn't have his helmet on, and so this is a couple of Mandalorians that Din has come into contact with since the season 1, that don't wear their helmet all the time, with Bo-Katan and Boba Fett, and so obviously the tipping point was the safety of Grogu. That's kind of says could he be the main Mando in season 3 if any of the rumors of Pedro leaving?
Yeah, I don't think so. Those rumors cropped up from really mediocre sources, and if you take a look at Pedro's social media feed, he is independently positive about the Mandalorian in a way that you just wouldn't be if there was any friction there at all. So
unfortunately, in this sort of modern age, drama attracts clicks and views, and so it becomes a monetary incentive to have some sort of salacious drama to drive web page views, YouTube views. So if it's negative news, I don't put stock in it unless it's come from like direct from the actor themselves or some official channel saying that, you know, creative differences, we've parted ways or something like that. I mean, The Mandalorian is like one of the biggest things on TV or streaming or however you sort of want to define it, this whole year in this. I can't imagine with the sort of the diminished capacity of the entertainment industry that anyone would jeopardize a steady paycheck, particularly as lucrative as The Mandalorian. I mean, maybe we see Boba Fett being a bit more of a supporting role in the third season if Grogu gets passed off, whether that basically can't continue to be part of it, and they bring in Mando to sort of form a new mini Mando clan.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Johnny's follow-up, just hoping. Yeah, I mean, I want to see more of Tim for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still scope for him to show up, and because he's obviously crossed paths with Cara Dune, and whether or not we see Ahsoka again, there's this relationship story arcs intersecting there.
Yeah, and they said that those the implication was that those two spin-off series would overlap with The Mandalorian in some capacity.
Yeah, they're actually going to intentionally...
Can do the bonus outside?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll see.
The story arcs are intended to intersect. They're not just in the same timeline. They're calling them different series, but it is a universe, a cohesive universe.
Yeah. Which, I'm excited by the title Rangers, because we've already heard them refer to Cara Dune as a marshal, so it's interesting to see how those will, it's not exactly as splintered off on her, but how that, what sort of characters that will feature on.
The Rangers of the New Republic, I guess that's going to be, we're going to see X-Wings, we're going to see Republic soldiers, with a bit of luck, and in conjunction with the Rogue One movie, I think we're going to see some really interesting development of Republic and Rebel backstories, which I'm quite looking forward to.
Confirming Guinevere O'Reilly as Mon Mothma in the Cassian Andor series. That's very exciting. I'm always like holding out that Bail Organa will always turn up in anything to do with the Rebels, but yeah, that might be wishful thinking.
That would be nice. I really like him as Bail Organa.
Yeah.
It's only one more episode to go.
I can't believe it. It just feels like we're just getting into it, and then it's ending so soon.
Yeah, at least we'll have we'll have the behind the scenes series running straight on after it to look forward to, but we're going to be facing a little bit of a gap. I don't know if we've got a date for Bad Batch yet. It's going to be a little bit of a gap before we get the live action series again.
Yeah.
Cassian Andor's in production but not scheduled until 2022.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate. I mean, obviously everything has had a significant delay because of the pandemic interrupting productions, and at least it's optimistic because we've almost gotten used to just having new Star Wars live action content at the end of the year. The modern films tended to focus around the December release time slot, and then the Mandalorian series was in the sort of November-December time slot. So at least going forward, we can expect a few more releases in the schedule, so it's not just sort of one thing a year to look forward to and then waiting almost 12 months again. There's more stuff.
If we're just talking about little series, it's too big a gap.
Hey,
speaking of crossovers though, if you saw the Bad Batch sizzle trailer, you would have seen Fennec Shand in there.
Yeah, I almost didn't sort of register it at first because I just wasn't expecting it. I didn't the helmet didn't translate straight away.
So
but that was exciting. That's sort of like after the Clone Wars.
Pre-original trilogy.
Yes, so she's young, I guess. We're going to find out a little bit more about her and her backstory, perhaps. Or she just crosses paths with the Bad Batch in some capacity. That's exciting. But I was kind of interested to see that they have got a live action series accompaniment to the High Republic with the Acolyte. Yeah, because I thought it was slightly odd that they were sort of releasing this huge big thing and making a big deal about it, and I was like, it's just books and comics. Not a lot of the wider fan base really do take a vested interest in the expanded sort of stories. So having a live action series to tie into that makes that sort of. I'm interested in the books and comics, but sometimes it can be a little much to try and sort of keep track of everything. And it's obviously not quite as rich as the So I'm excited that they've decided to add something to that, and it's sort of a thriller, which sounds really
mystery
fun.
Thriller, whatever that means. But Acolyte implies Sith. Implies, not confirmed.
Or dark side of some capacity, which is very intriguing. I'm very much looking forward to that. Of course, I always wish they would give us like a little more details. A lot of the announcements were either a writer or a director, and not much in terms of the cast. Things like the Rogue Squadron movie. Apart from the director, we don't, and a vague sort of story idea. It's hard to wait
some of the stuff
when they give us those sorts of teasers.
Still early in development, like we don't actually know what sort of format to expect for Lando.
Yeah.
At this point. But it might sound like
is it young Lando? Is it sort of prior to as we see him in the sequel trilogy? Because everyone's like, is it going to be, which actor is it going to be that's portrayed Lando? Is it going to be animated? They didn't really specify that one very well. But I'm still riding the high from the most recent Mando episode. I'm going to miss that sort of excitement of Friday nights. I do hope, as much as I want the new series to come as soon as possible, I hope they space it out so we don't have. I almost hope we don't have overlap, so that there's always something to look forward to every week, and then it won't be too long until the next one.
And you mean in terms of the release pacing for the different series?
That they don't overlap, so we've sort of got a good cadence of things to watch and new, so we don't burn out and then there's like a gap of nothing. And I am really curious to see whether they some television series, they have a sort of a known arc in mind that only spans a couple of series, or whether for the Mandalorian that's just kind of open-ended, because it's set in a time period that doesn't have a close end cap in terms of the story, so it's not going to sort of really overlap with too much. It's open-ended in terms of how contained they are with already written events. I personally would love to see it just keep continuing rather than just sort of being a limited 3 to 5 series run. I think fans could very much well just see the adventures of Mando continuing on.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't have Baby Yoda in it, I think he's such an interesting and complex character.
I think we'd actually benefit from eventually moving on from the Baby Yoda story, to be honest. I mean, as much as I'm enjoying it and as much as everybody loves Baby Yoda.
Because he was a complete surprise. He wasn't in any of the sort of advertising before the series started. He was that sort of out of nowhere addition, and people were already completely on board to just follow a brand new Mandalorian character and see what he was going to do around the galaxy. So
I think the story will better stretch its legs just a little bit more once they move on from there.
Yeah. Because that those opening scenes where he grappled the guy in the doorway was was a pretty exciting sort of hook to the start of the series. They featured that a lot in the trailers.
You mean right last season?
No, right at the start, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fascinating seeing just so many stormtroopers and Imperials of different outfits, armors.
And it's clearly not the height of the Empire. That we had more of the beaten up.
There were some really some grubby stormtroopers in that batch.
Obviously, it's a mining facility. They had actual workers in amongst them, mingling with the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Snipers, Imperial gunners were the other things that were quite cool to see on screen, manning the anti-aircraft guns.
Yeah.
Fun to see those helmets again.
Have we seen them in the series so far?
I don't think so.
They didn't seem familiar in terms of having seen them in this series, so they were a fun addition. And of course the shore troopers from Rogue One. Yeah. There were some sort of familiar Rogue One elements. The tank reminded me of the one that we see in Rogue One that Jyn Erso is in, kind of mixed with the clone sort of turbo tanks.
Yeah, it was clearly a variant of the turbo tanks. They referred to it as a Juggernaut a number of times, but it was obviously an articulated, slightly more low to the ground, more axles.
I was like kind of curious where they were going to go with, like, with Mando taking his armor off and putting on a stormtrooper. Because when he was fighting the guys on the top of the tank, I was like, his armor's getting like crunched because he's used to fighting with either to be ripped off or to just be shattered. Because they made a point of like one of his shoulder pieces gets shattered because he's used to using his Beskar armor to sort of defend against blows and things like that. And then the plastic armor is just like crunch, it's just gone. So I was like, ooh, are we gonna accidentally see something here? Or is it gonna be like a very close but not quite tight tease, where he manages to like get control of it. Just at the last minute, but when he took it off, I was like,
they're going there. Speaking of the close combat scenes, though, I found it interesting when they were on the outside of the mining facility, and troopers were coming under the partially raised doors, so he just leaned down and shot them. kind of reminded me of what they should have done in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Every time stormtroopers were trying to come under the doors and the
shoot them in the ankles.
Yeah. Someone's got to take the initiative and not just wait for the door to be fully open.
Yeah. And did remind me of the Ep7 Nest gang with the sort of the train heist segment with the sort of the speeders chasing down the tank.
Yeah, they kept coming. There was it looked like a new species as well. I didn't
it made me. It kind of made me think of like.
I'm just gonna get these guys just because they're here.
Like the sort of facial horns sort of reminded me of the Jedi SWTOR, but I don't think it was that species.
No, I don't think that.
It felt like an interesting sort of inspired design.
Yeah,
it was interesting. And I was kind of curious to see if they were gonna just like, are they pirates or are they just desperate people looking to kind of like cause enough trouble for the Imperials to like go away. So you sort of like, you feel a bit mean cheering on Mando because they're obviously not aware of that he's not Imperial and they're trying to, you know, fight against the Empire, but obviously he's desperately trying to fulfill his quest to get what he needs to track down Grogu. So you sort of like There was some fun scenes in that though. I like the classic thermal detonator that we see Bouche wielding in Return of the Jedi. Of course, that would be in the and I have to go back and watch the previous episode. Saw some people on social media doing the freeze frames afterwards, as you do, and noting that the mortar trooper is firing the thermal detonators off the back of classic stormtrooper armor. I was like, I saw the sort of white cylinders and didn't really register straight away that that's what that was. That there are the little canisters off the back of stormtrooper armor. I'm going, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Getting to see them used as the explosives that they've been called thermal detonators for all this time. But yeah, actually seeing them used to as explosives was fun.
Actually, I'm just gonna clear some gear.
Okay, another reason to go back for third and fourth viewings. I can't remember how many times we've actually watched that Boba Fett episode already.
All the 10 revealed,
Yeah, we've watched it a couple of times now.
At least that.
So many good details.
Days.
But yeah, the seismic charges in this episode, that was making me shriek. That was really exciting. It's such a memorable sequence in Attack of the Clones. I was wondering if they would do it in Atmosphere, and I was like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it? And then boom, yeah, that was very satisfying. I've always loved the seismic charges.
Yeah, no, super interesting because we only saw them in Django's iteration of the Slave One. But presumably still has the same elements. There's a few subtle differences over time, but
I do hope we see Boba Fett sort of getting in there alongside Mando in the final episode, fighting. Because this one he was sort of...
even when they went fighting, it was kind of cool seeing them both come out of Slave One in their armor and seeing Mayfield's...
Yeah, that was funny when Mayfield was like, oh, I thought you were someone else. And then when he sees Mando, he's like, ooh, okay. Because he still calls him Mando, even though there's like another Mando right there. Overall, yeah, it was an episode I really enjoyed. Not as many sort of big shock moments. I mean, I guess once you get past Din taking his helmet off, I think that was the big. And they kind of had a bit of not overt sort of emotional development, but like it did catch me off guard when Mayfield shot the officer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There wasn't wasn't shocking, but and it was just
in
necessary
terms of
story
reveals.
progression. But
Yeah,
that was it was a little bit unexpected. I have to admit, I didn't fully see that
yeah,
come in. Not straight in the chest like that.
yeah. That he just couldn't take that sort of Imperial still being alive with that sort of attitude, and yeah, just sort of decided to saw an opportunity and took it.
As I said, so that he could sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah, and sort of earning Cara Dune's respect, even though she obviously has a bitter hatred of Imperials. She felt like his actions at the end, blowing up the
his monologue about to the officer, he was talking about the people he was fighting not really having any say in the matter, and he sort of talked about that a little bit when he was straight up talking to Din Djarin in the tank as well, about people that died and at the hands of Mandalorians in the Mandalorian wars.
Yeah.
They don't have, if you're drawn into war by circumstances, you don't have a lot of say in how things pan out. So he kind of had a bit of a queel, wanting to redeem himself from his Imperial actions vibe going on there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we sort of
The short trip.
it's done in a more of a in a comedic setting, but yeah, of course, Han Solo has Imperial history that he obviously more than sort of makes up for with his actions with the rebellion.
He's talking about the scene where the short trooper, he's holding his tray with
Oh,
a drink
yeah.
on it or something, isn't he? And you see,
Yeah, he's just
he
like,
doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of processing going on before he can work out his next move.
Yeah. It's yeah, sort of an interesting balance. Like, we've just gone sort of through a very sort of heavy, almost dark sort of conversation to sort of and of course the classic stormtroopers falling from great heights out the window. Oh, it's always classic Star Wars to see stormtroopers falling
and screaming.
Yeah. I did enjoy the short scene at the sort of Republic sort of scrapyard camp prison service.
Right at the start.
Yeah, with all the sort of
the tires and the scouts.
Yeah, all the sort of the rubble of old wrecked Imperial fighters and things.
And the prison guard droid with his, you have 3 seconds to comply.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go this way, you go that way.
Okay.
But
yeah, seeing all the TIE fighters all laying in the rubble. There's something that sort of makes me want to just like explore places like that. It's just sort of fascinating seeing seeing all the Imperial sort of rubble. I have to go back and look at the scene a little more closely to sort of identify all the different ships. The TIE fighters to have such iconic cockpits, their sort of top hatches and windows stand out quite well in scenes like that, but I'm sure there's other
yeah, there's definitely ATSTs in there. I was trying to think of something else I saw around that time. I can't remember what it was.
I like the AT-esque sort of cranes that they were using.
Yeah. We saw those earlier in the season, but they're very fun. They come from concept art that wasn't used.
And it was fun to see Cara Dune wearing her Republic Marshal badge on her belt.
Yep.
Sort of in a more of an official capacity. So at this point, obviously for a part of the story, Moff Gideon was tracking Mando, and now Mando has the ability to hunt down Moff Gideon. So it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of collide those two together. one's on a very big ship. That we saw Boba Fett saying he didn't want to sort of take on that sort of ship. He seemed sort of like knowing that his slave one wouldn't hold up very well if he tried to attack when Grogu was taken. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of structure the inevitable confrontation between the two and where that's going to take place. On a specific sort of Imperial facility or on a ship of some sort, or it's like you know what's going to happen, but at the same time you don't.
Yeah. So, just give me 2 seconds here.
Like, I'm sure we're going to see the Darksaber being used. Hopefully, sort of in some capacity against Beskar. I felt like the sort of short scenes of Ahsoka versus Mando were sort of obviously setting up for the fact that to the general public that may not know all the Star Wars lore, that his armor can sort of withstand lightsabers and similar weaponry. So I felt like that was setting up a confrontation with the Darksaber in play. And Moff Gideon wielding it in front of Grogu is kind of reminding everyone that he's still got that. I mean, I don't see how they could possibly wrap up, like rescuing Grogu and then somehow getting him to the Jedi in just the one episode. Oh, what the heck is going on with my health?
Oh, a couple of mobs just to speed things up.
I got down to like 11.
You probably picked a different mob to me.
Yeah.
So what else did we catch up with in the webcast today? We've got Andor, we've got Obi-Wan, we've got Ahsoka, we've got Rangers, we've got Bad Batch, we've got the Acolyte, we've got Lando, we've got Rogue Squadron, we've got Star Wars Visions, a droid story, and confirmation of Taika Waititi's project. That's 11 different titles. Plus the Mandalorian Season 3, that's 12 Star Wars titles to look forward to over the coming 1 to 3 years, 1 to 4 years.
I mean, I'm always kind of hoping that they give us trailers, but I know that, because of production delays, they still keep sort of reassuring people that it's going to be released on schedule, but because of production delays, we don't have, they're not going to have enough footage. I do appreciate that they gave us some behind-the-scenes sort of pre-production for Cassian, including concept art and some sort of
full-on scenes being built there. I don't think we're too far off potentially seeing teaser material.
Yeah. I'm always like, the one thing I guess I'm missing from the reveals is Andor had some footage of Diego Luna talking about it. I was kind of hoping that the wider audience got to see those segments where it cut away and it said, the sort of live stream will resume again shortly, and that there's footage of some sort being shown, and it's like, oh, come on, show the public.
Yeah, I hate that. That is,
like there were cutaways for Kenobi. There was another one where they cut away, and I was like, oh.
I think Lando, they had
something,
cut away.
I'm like, I hope they give us more info soon about those, because they know Star Wars fans just want to know. We haven't got the big budget movies that they promised us initially. It was going to be a movie a year, and of course the world's changed a little bit since then, but that thirst for new stories and especially with the immense success of The Mandalorian, that the fans are clamoring for just more of the same. Give us more like this. Episode 7 was fire, that was a fun episode. As much as I guess I'm excited to see just how much the Imperials are sort of being drawn in. When the Mandalorian was first sort of pitched, I was like, okay, they can sort of run around, like not drawing in known Star Wars characters. You know, this is going to be all new characters and new locales and things like that. But
Head off the header coming.
yeah, like
it was pretty smug.
yeah, it was interesting because in the original trailer, we saw Stormtrooper helmets on the spikes. We saw him shoot a few, but it kind of looked like some tiny little outpost, you know, with the client and just a couple of scrappy stormtroopers left. And I never would have expected that. Yeah, but like this season, it's full on. Like, yeah, this isn't Rebels in the Forest, like with the ATST episode and things like that, where a lot of what he was doing was not directly involved with the Empire. Obviously, the Empire wanted Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
But this one feels like he's fully going up against the Empire now.
Yeah. Looking at chat again. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Bo-Katan. I'd love to see. I mean, I didn't think I would necessarily be, going quite so Mando crazy as I feel that I am, but I'd love to see a bunch of Mandalorians fighting together. It would be really quite interesting because Bo-Katan...
She wants the Darksaber. She wants it, so, and she knows Moff Gideon's got it, so... She's got to be drawn in somehow.
Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, and Tim Morrison, they all have quite... And, Boba Fett, Din Djarin, and Bo-Katan all have quite different interpretations of, Mandalorian creed.
Yeah.
So it's quite fun sort of seeing them together. Oh,
yeah.
Freddie's just jumped in there to remind us about Hayden Christensen.
Oh, yeah. That was just like, what?
I love that news. That's super fun. I despite some of the niggly criticisms that people had about prequels way back in the day, I think, the way he sort of returned to the fandom, he loves the character.
Yeah, there's just something so heartwarming knowing that those two, they must have spent untold hours training together for all those lightsaber fight scenes and, filming just all the scenes of Obi-Wan and Anakin on set. The idea of them, being, obviously they won't be spending every minute on set together. This isn't quite, the Obi-Wan and Anakin show, but just knowing that they'll be in the same series again is just super exciting. And I hope I hope this means that we'll see Hayden doing a few more sort of fan events and things like that. He's turned up to some celebrations, but only for photo ops.
I reckon he will.
And those sold out in the blink of an eye. I think if he does a little more, then maybe the rest of us can get the opportunity to get photos and or autographs, because that was like really, really hard.
Ahsoka, Toshi's just talking about Ahsoka. Ahsoka's definitely getting her own show. That's
I was like 99% convinced of it. I saw some people had, criticisms about the size of her Montrol, and I thought with the just the practicality of stunts. She flipped a lot, she uses two lightsabers, and I thought, I bet you they are making the call now so that for the safety of stunts and not having to CG her Montrol in every single shot of a long-running show, if they alter her look just a little to make it a lot more wearable and comfortable for an actress spending 12, 16, however many hours doing long filming days on set, to make a headpiece that's much more wearable. And I think some people really forget that the animated shows have always been heavily stylized compared to the live action. When we look at the original comic interpretations of characters like Ayla, who then made the jump from comics to the films and then to animated, there's almost very little other than she's a Twi'lek and she's blue.
Yeah.
Her color changed dramatically. The length and shape of her leku changed a lot between all the different iterations.
contrast
She was
between the
she was
patterns.
paler blue in the comics. Then in the movies, she was suddenly dark blue again, and then in the Clone Wars series, she was light blue. Her spots have changed. You know, sometimes they're barely there, sometimes they're very striking. I feel like the animated shows have always been stylized and a bit heightened, so it did not surprise me at all that they made it a little bit more comfortable and manageable when it comes to costumes and stunts and things like that. You know, if they're doing rigging, just having something that's not quite in the way so much is just a good health and safety lesson for the actresses and everyone concerned.
So all up, as Tachi says in the chat there, I mean, I was quite happy with the overall look of. I thought it was fine. I didn't find it too jarring.
No.
That there was that little modification.
No, the top horns point back just a little bit more than they do in Rebels, where they point upwards a little more. And I was like, nah, they've done that to because they've got a full series lined up, and they're basically setting the precedent for the comfort and safety of people going forward. I was so mad that Ayla didn't get hardly any screen time. Yeah, I'm such a big fan of Ayla. I was always a little bit sad that she didn't get that a few of the sort of the second tier Jedi characters didn't get as much screen time. We see them in a lot of sort of Jedi Council scenes and around the Jedi Temple, and then when it came to Order 66, we kind of didn't get to see them do much before their unfortunate demise. And unfortunately, because of the setting around the prequels and the Clone Wars, I don't know if we'll ever really see much live action set in that same time period and exploring more of those characters. I think you're referring to Quinlan Voss. Was that Quinlan Voss that Ayla was with?
Well, Quinlan
I can never remember which ones they match up
knew
with.
Ayla when she was Quinlan knew Ayla when she was very young.
Yeah.
As
I
a
can't
child.
remember,
He did have there was a EU romance with Kit Fisto.
Thanks. And yes, I would absolutely shriek if they got Keanu Reeves to do Revan. Obviously, as big SWTOR fans, and being very familiar with his appearance in this game. Like, the first time I saw him in this game, I'm like, oh, he looks like Keanu Reeves. Wouldn't that be cool? And then there's all this Photoshop art, like what he would look like as Revan. Yeah, because of the lines on his face, it gives him a look. You know, even before Keanu had this whole sort of revival, because the first sort of facial appearance of Revan in this game was years ago now. And like he's got good acting abilities, and he's obviously quite proficient with stunts. Like you know that they probably keep a little bit of an ear to the ground in terms of fan wishes, you know, which sort of projects would get the fans' applause versus ones that people aren't quite as interested to. And oh my gosh, something set in the Old Republic era or KOTOR, just like turn the KOTOR story into a movie or mini movies. I'm all for that, you know. Yeah, I'm still holding out hope that they look to the Old Republic era for some storytelling. In the meantime, I am going to just keep playing SWTOR. The story writing team for SWTOR have given us some epic stories. The whole, without giving away spoilers, because I haven't played the end, the Emperor storyline is just incredible. The voice acting, the storytelling. Oh, I gotta get away from this acid because I keep forgetting. I just love it so much. But I feel like, as much as I know I can keep living it in the video game, I always want the wider audience to just appreciate the awesome stories that are in this game. You know, seeing seeing Revan in a live action movie or TV series capacity would be just amazing. And yeah, it seems like all the fans are pretty happy with the idea of Keanu Reeves playing the character. That would be pretty epic to bring him into the Star Wars universe as well. He's got some pretty cool geek franchises under his belt. That would be pretty fun to see him in this one as well. But yeah, even if they got an unknown, I would be excited to see Revan. They keep making merch of him, like years after Disney took over. So I'm like, they've got to know how popular the character is, because they keep approving merch and making merch featuring Revan. I'm like, they're not oblivious to this. They can see what's going on. Jalari says, doing a live action film or series of KOTOR would be flipping amazing. Man, Kotet and Kopfi is beautiful. That film level quality writing there, and the way the cutscenes were made for those chapters too, perfection. Says, so true. First thing I did when I logged in was buy cartel coins and Revan's new set.
Got
It was
Revan's
mine,
set,
oh yes. Oh, I am so jealous. The new Revan set looks amazing, and I love that it comes with so many alternate pieces. Hood up, hood down, pants, skirt, and that bundle with the awesome saber. Like, oh my gosh, yeah.
What class character did you put it on?
I am so tempted to I really want to put it on my main, so that which is
yours on an area.
Yeah, she's a Sentinel, so she can wield two lightsabers, because I feel like I want to do a little bit
bundle
of
with his redeemed
comes
saber.
with his redeemed saber. Yeah, like ooh.
So that's the one that's the same as the one that Hasbro released, isn't that saber?
Global Unlocked, really good choice. Everyone can have one. It's a pretty awesome saber. Like, it was such a funny story. Like, back in the day, that spiked hilt was in the game. It just as like random sabers that would drop from different quests. And then when they brought Revan into the game, they gave him that spiked saber. But back at the very, very start of the game, I gave the random drop saber to my main girl, and she's been running around with the very old version of that spiked saber, which is now Revan's saber. But even though she's still got her old ones, I want to buy the new one. So she's got like the fancy Revan sabers, even though it looks almost exactly the same as her old ones.
Yeah, just looking at the cartel market now. Yeah, you'll have to buy it as a bundle, because the saber, you get the saber by itself.
It's expensive.
The saber alone is $3,800.
Yeah. No, the bundle's a pretty good deal for that. And the really sought after hilts in this game go for so much on the cartel market.
Yeah.
It says, I know own all things Revan.
His old set, Reborn and As Jedi.
I've got
the same character or different characters?
I have the Reborn set on my my Marauder. I've got the Revan set because I collected that way back when it first came out. That was so expensive. But I've never been brave enough to equip it to anybody. I know I can just unlock it if I equip it, but I've never been brave enough to give it to anybody. I need to pick somebody to give the classic Revan set, and then I have all three sets. I've got some of the they released all the sort of different Revanite sets. I've got a couple of them. I think I'm missing one that I need to collect because they're quite inspired. Yeah. So, which planet should we go to next? I just want to run outside the door because we can't quick travel in here.
Yeah, let's do something like Voss, which isn't too long, because Balmorra was long. And then we'll probably wrap it up to Voss, but Voss will give us just a little bit more time to work through a few things. And it's a nice outdoor. Voss is, I think a lot of people really like Voss as a location in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I do kind of. I'm always excited. I want little parts of SWTOR to sort of be included in the new storyline. So them referencing Tython in the Mando made me just so excited. Flashpoints. I haven't done a group finder flashpoint in a long time. I've generally just slogged it out with the two of us grouped up. It's a little hard. Hammer Station. We did that the other day, I think. I can't remember. We did a couple of them. I really like the we played through the Korriban and Tython flashpoints the other day together.
In stream, yeah.
Yeah, because those are
Traveling from the top.
yeah, sorry, I'm still loading in.
No, okay. I was just talking about Voss, just talking about the aesthetics of Voss. I remember back developers talking about the different color palettes for different planets, and obviously that's quite evident on Voss. But yeah, I do like that aspect. Whatever planet from all the early planets, all the vanilla game planets, you could tell where you were. Obviously, not just by what you saw, but just by the feel, by the atmosphere.
Yeah. Voss is very autumn. So yeah, I don't really know what to expect from the last episode of The Mandalorian. I'm sure it will be exciting.
Yeah.
I hope they give us a few sort of gasp moments. Are we going to see Mando take his helmet off again? Is he just going to be like, well, I did it once? You know,
yeah, I don't think that.
it's like my streak is broken. I may as well just take it off now.
They may or may not, but I don't think they need to overdo it.
Yeah, because we see Boba wear his a few times. I suppose you're already gone to the first thing, haven't you?
Yep.
Oh, I'm standing here waiting. I was like waiting for you to load it, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm just standing here. Yeah, it better be at least an hour long. Yeah, I don't know how they can fit everything together. Like, how? How are they going to do that?
Can't remember how long
There's so much
episode of
the last season. No, I'd have to look that up. I don't know how they can fit everything in.
I think the last episode of the last season was kind of longer, but it'd be nice to have something that's closer or in excess of an hour.
Yeah. Because we've got so long to wait until the next... until more Mando. Yeah. I mean, you know, they've announced lots of other new stuff. But, oh gosh.
But nothing's got a solid date that's earlier than late next year at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been meaning to check out Cobra Kai.
What's that? Cobra Kai? Oh yeah, I do want to.
I'm not very familiar with the Karate Kid franchise. I've seen, I think, the original movie once and then the recent remake once. I'm afraid I haven't seen the sequels, but yeah, I keep hearing really good things about that series. And I think it's on Netflix now.
Yeah, it's on Netflix for us now, and the fact that we're a few seasons in is always reassuring that you're going to get a decent amount of content to watch if you get stuck into it.
Yeah, most of the time I enjoy just doing the old binge watch marathon of shows.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely on our list, that Cobra Kai. It's on my list. I think you enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely will check that out.
Okay.
Well, definitely, I think, Star Wars fans are going to be trying to consume content to distract them from the lack of Mandalorian very shortly. I can only imagine. One thing I was thinking of watching the investor stream was the amount of merchandise that is coming out from just one show at the moment is almost impossible to keep up with. Just the sheer amount of Baby Yoda merch and Mandalorian merch, and then there's a giant Razor Crest to buy, and then now we need all the Boba Fett things, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Now they're going to give us even more with like all these new series. You know that the merchandising juggernaut is going to go into overdrive when all these new ones kick up. There's going to be a lot of merchandise and a lot of things to keep up with for the fans. Tie-in books and all sorts.
That's the problem with the series. They move through characters and environments, settings so fast that there's actually probably more potential for merchandise. So they've really got a tricky decision about when it comes to choosing. what to represent as action figures and so forth.
Yes, the Forge Master set in this game, I love it. I've just bought, because it's kind of expensive, I've just managed to get the Discharged Infantry armor set inspired by Cara Dune. And the Forge Master set is the... No, because I'm tempted to... I'm very tempted to roll a new character that's kind of Cara Dune inspired. A Republic Trooper. Can't decide if she's going to be a Vanguard or a Commando, because like I could give her the Amban rifle, seeing as that only works for people that fully works for rifle holders, or do I just give her like a really cool assault cannon?
Have you seen any confirmation?
But the Forge Master,
Amban does that disintegration effect with companions?
I haven't been able to see. I haven't found any. I mean, not that I've gone really looking, but I haven't seen anybody say whether I like to part in today's episode. Drawing her in. I think she probably wouldn't turn up the opportunity to attack some Imperials. But yeah, she's what I thought might have been just a very small, sort of almost a guest role in the first season, has turned into a really sort of cool recurring character. I want to see more merchandise of her. And I hope she lives beyond this season finale. Obviously we lost two fairly significant characters at the end of season 1. I don't want to lose Cara Dune.
It doesn't feel like there's a need.
Yeah, because that was kind of shocking that they killed off. I mean, IG-11 is a droid, obviously, but they had, in a short amount of time, made him quite a fun character, and I did not see Queel, his story end. Did not see that coming. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We've only got a week to go for the I'm going to say conclusion, but it's not going to be a conclusion. The 8th episode of this season, and how many loose ends are they going to leave us with? Obviously, they are super keen to expand the Disney Plus subscriber base, so they've got to give people a reason to look forward to and to subscribe for the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. And even though it's unrelated to Star Wars, I'm excited by the new addition of the Star sort of category for Disney Plus. I mean, obviously we're going to subscribe to Disney Plus for having all the Star Wars content in one place, but having the wider sort of category of 20th Century Fox titles that generally aren't deemed the family-friendly content of the standard Disney branding. So anything that's deemed sort of M-rated or above is gonna show up. Things like Alien, and then the new Alien TV series that's got the potential to be pretty cool.
Quite fun, yeah.
Yeah, with Ridley Scott's involvement, that could be really, really cool. And I know there isn't always the complete crossover of Star Wars and Marvel fans, but the Marvel content looks interesting, sort of like a similar blueprint to how they are approaching Star Wars content, leaning heavily into streaming series, but incorporating films, because obviously the Marvel Cinematic Universe is always going to be heavily tied to the film series.
Yeah, well, in terms of what it could mean for Star Wars series, we've got Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen tied into Disney Plus series, but Marvel's gone even further than that in some ways, in terms of who they've been able to line up for WandaVision and Loki. So I hope that's a bit of a precedent about who we could end up seeing in Star Wars Disney Plus material.
that they've obviously proven, and the I mean, from the sort of financial standpoint, the sort of nitty-gritty that they got into at the end of the investor live stream, talking about just the sheer amount of money that they're going to be pumping into Disney Plus content creation, because they are basically diverting funds that would have been spent on the parks, because they obviously are not quite the revenue earners that they have been in the past, and probably will be at a diminished capacity for at least a little while. So a lot of that money, from my understanding, it looks like they could be as much as doubling what they were going to be spending on creating content for Disney Plus, but so basically spending double. So that does bode pretty well. I mean, obviously it's pretty exciting that it was a Star Wars title that basically led the success of. I've seen the memes of the little tiny toy train representing the Mandalorian tugging the freight train success of of Disney Plus. A lot of people crediting the Mandalorian for basically the sole reason why it's doing so well, and of course the fact that it's a Star Wars title means that they're like, okay, we got to do more of this. Obviously the wider public is quite excited about Star Wars in general, not just the core Star Wars fan base, that it has a wider appeal. So like, you know, everyone's talking about updates from the Mandalorian series, so who knows in the next couple of years what other series we might see, until, I mean, it'll be interesting to see will studios like Disney and others ever return to the same theatrical release system that they've used in the past. Certainly Disney and Lucasfilm look like they're putting all their money into a series. Not all their money, but a lot more into the series than they previously would have.
Yeah.
You know, like Kenobi was going to be a movie, now it's going to be a series. You know, because Star Wars looks good on the big screen, you know, the big epic adventures, but at the same time, series do give us, on a minute-per-minute basis, more content. And
It's interesting that Rogue Squadron is the choice for the next movie. I think that could be quite fun on a big screen, some really epic battles.
Like
you're gonna have to go quite
a Star Wars Top Gun, essentially.
Quite CG heavy, potentially.
Yes.
With a
little
bigger budget.
Yeah, you can do cockpits, but you can't do the fighters externally without CG. So that makes sense. That a bigger budget, put it on the big screen, and a few years away. So they've got some time
really
to do
interesting
that.
things out of that. Mildly interesting that that'll be the second movie with Rogue in the title.
Yeah.
I wonder how tight. I mean, we know that Rogue Squadron has an established existence in the movies and in the older Legends EU. But it'd be interesting that they could potentially tie it in a little bit to Rogue One in terms of its establishment.
Yeah.
We don't know whether it's going to be. It's not talked about in A New Hope, but we don't know if it's going to be pre-A New Hope or post-A New Hope.
It does make me wonder if, I mean, who knows whether the popularity of the recently released Squadrons video game has lent to that sort of decision making as well. That people do just enjoy the starfighters of Star Wars.
Yeah, well, I think Disney. But
it's not just lightsabers that draw
Disney
people's
noticing
attention.
where people are putting their money and reacting accordingly. Obviously, the sequels made a lot of money in the box office, but they wrap that story up, and there's a clear audience for stuff that's tightly tied into the original trilogy.
I don't know which one of the sort of announced shows I'm more excited for. Like, obviously Kenobi is right up there, and I know they can't give us Hayden Christensen's face, but ooh, could you imagine? Ooh, like
they could. They
like the burnt face,
in...
because we saw if there's a helmet off Vader, we saw it. So what's that?
Imagine seeing him in a medical chamber of some sort.
Yeah,
you know,
I hadn't actually thought about that. I was like, he's gonna be like, if he's Vader, then he's got his helmet on, and I'm like, oh, actually no, we did see, obviously at the end of episode 3.
He's not a Mandalorian. He can't take it off.
Yeah, because they've sort of set the precedent of, for most of the time he's going to look like the burnt Hayden Christensen we saw in episode 3. Up until some point, he's the older man that we see with the helmet off at the end of Return of the Jedi. So that could be fascinating. And like,
so I wonder if
why they brought him back
Obi-Wan
rather than the new sort of body actor for Darth Vader that they've used for films like Rogue One. I thought, like, it's obviously like a good sort of the Lucasfilm seem to have really made an effort to include sort of legacy actors. Even though Hayden's not, an original trilogy legacy actor, he is still a part of the Star Wars family. And bringing him in is just...
If he has an encounter with Obi-Wan, I wonder if it's going to be pure friction, or if there's going to be a little bit more, something that's a little bit more reflective.
Kathleen said an epic showdown of like one of the... I can't remember who exactly... It made it sound like, that they will come face to face at some point. And it would make you wonder whether... obviously, it would be a little bit of a copy to do it in the same way, but... in Rebels, there is a scene where Darth Vader's helmet is cracked, and we see his eye. Ahsoka sees his eye directly. Obviously, it would be a little bit of a copy to sort of recreate that scene with Vader and Obi-Wan. But it makes you wonder if we are going to see his actual face at some point. That could be quite fascinating.
Yeah, I reckon we will.
That would really cement it. Yeah, when he is Anakin talking to Ahsoka and goes Vader on her. Yeah. I mean, the possibilities there, they better start giving us... There was some sizzle reel that was shown for investors, where the stream just cuts away and goes, it will resume in like a minute and a half. I'm like, no, I'm sure it's like not actual footage. It'll just be like Ewan McGregor talking about Obi-Wan or something like that, or like a compilation of footage of him and how there was I don't know if it was a webisode or part of the behind the scenes when they, I think it was for episode 3, where they were sort of showing photos of him with the hair and makeup as Obi-Wan next to Alec Guinness, and how similar they looked, that they really did try to bridge the gap of time and sort of make him look like a younger Alec Guinness.
Well, that'll be interesting if they progress him just a little bit more.
Yeah,
to his Tatooine appearance.
Yeah.
I think that could be. But just back to that point about, one of the characteristics of all the episode 3 fights between Obi-Wan and Anakin was the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think it will be interesting to hear what they have to say to each other at this point.
Yeah. Obviously it won't be Hayden's voice.
No.
Because it'll be James Earl. But I didn't actually think that they would go so far. Like, I was like, oh, maybe they'll do like flashback scenes of like Anakin remembering Obi-Wan, but they're like, nope, Vader, and it's like, ooh, okay. Usually Vader's like the winning card, that you sort of pull that one out carefully, but I guess they realized that you can't really, that Obi-Wan is so connected to Anakin and therefore Vader, Obviously got some pretty interesting stories to tell. I mean, I've been keen for Obi-Wan Kenobi story for a long time, but I still think it takes the cake of the one that I'm the most excited for out of the list revealed today.
It is the one that everyone kind of wished for in terms of seeing Ewan McGregor back again, and it's a clear instance where fans got their wish, and I don't think that'll happen too often. I mean, obviously, like you said, Disney does listen or at least observe as to where the money's going, but that felt like a genuine straight up reward to the fans for and possibly to Ewan himself.
Yeah, I know that it's always, you really hope that actors of his sort of stature would turn up to fan events and stuff like that, but at least I get the feeling like he really does enjoy being a part of Star Wars, even if he doesn't come to the events. Obviously, with the way the world is at the moment, we're obviously not going to see a celebration convention for a while, not until 2022. So it'll be interesting to see how that convention lines up with the release dates of these new content.
Yeah, true.
The first movie wasn't slated till 23. I see that they're playing pretty cautiously with basically just not planning anything for the big screen until we see that movies are well and truly back to normal. But a lot of the other things were 2022.
Yeah. So
which
what
would
will be the focus for? What will they focus at? And what guests? What reveals? I'd love to see props and costumes from whatever's on the horizon or whatever's just screen. I always love that aspect of celebrations. Don't want to get into too longer, but we could keep things going a little bit longer and do it. Can you do Zayas on that character?
No.
Can you do a Zerka run?
Yeah, we'll just do a quick Zerka run, yeah. Sorry, I'm just disassembling some gear because I've got way too much of it in my base. Oh, I'm getting all this tanking gear. Whoops, not that one.
Yeah, we're in your phase if you jump out because we can't travel from here.
Yeah, I just got up to my house. Stronghold.
Yeah, I'll see you on Zerka.
Yep. Maybe that should cook you up. Oh, but it's been such a busy Star Wars content day. So much. I was absolutely transfixed for that entire investor stream. The additions to Disney Plus. It was fun that they put the Star Wars content out first. Well, early in the show. But as a long-time Disney fan, there was a lot of other cool stuff in that stream that was announced to be excited about. I'll just meet you on Zerka, and then the Marvel stuff. And I'm just looking forward to. I am just really excited that, for whatever sort of specific reason, Australia and New Zealand seem to be prioritized almost when it comes to Disney Plus. We don't have to wait too long. We're often in this first batch.
Yeah, I guess we're just not complicated.
Yeah.
I actually like it. I like the way they structured it for New Zealand. It's
we didn't have to wait too long to get the Mandalorian series, because some countries, it was months after the Mandalorian had started screening that they actually got Disney Plus in their country. But we got it, I think, a week after the US, which was pretty fast turnaround, really. Considering that there are still countries that they're sort of rolling it out to, a year later, and that we're getting that they're putting such an emphasis on Disney Plus, which means that for so long it felt like we were so behind the US in terms of movie releases, TV releases. I mean, back in the day, it used to be like months before TV shows ever showed up in New Zealand. I know things got a little bit better with the likes of some of the more recent episodic shows like Game of Thrones, where they were like desperately trying to screen them in New Zealand so people weren't getting spoiled on social media. But I love that. I love that Disney Plus is just instantaneous. There's no difference between us and the US, which is just fantastic. We're not penalized anymore. Pick this up. Which is just great that that's where the focus of Star Wars is going to be. I know when it came to theatrical releases, we almost had the advantage over the US in that because of where the time zones are. We would get it like
ahead by a few hours,
it'd be about like
a
day, well, a little under a day between us and America. I know that wasn't the case in the past, where it could have been months between, particularly in the original trilogy era, where we were a fair bit behind.
Yes, 7 months.
Now I just wish some of the merch companies would get on board with the sort of globalization of the release for these things. Seeing as we get the content so quickly, we should be able to get the merchandise as well at the same time. I think the HasLab sail barge would have sold a lot more if they had gotten the international retailer structure in place like they have for Razor Crest, with that release being available at several local retailers as a pre-order. I wish they'd done that for the sail barge, but at least the precedent's been set, and it seems to have been very successful in terms of the backer numbers that they got for it, even though with the Razor Crest was sadly destroyed. I hope be interesting to see what sort of merchandise we might see, like, because for such a big piece from a relatively new sort of Star Wars franchise to dive in with such a price point, I guess they felt like the demand was there. Interesting to see if we get some really high price point pieces from some of the other Star Wars movies and shows that'll come out.
I don't know. What I think I'd really like next to see as a HasLab project. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I
there's
guess
plenty of classic vehicles that I love, but I'm not sure if I'd feel too much of a burning need to see like an X-Wing or anything that would be done fairly well. It needs to be something big and substantial.
that doesn't really exist in a already existing, somewhat underscaled.
There he is. I mean, yeah, we've got a pretty big AT-AT. We've got a pretty, they're not full scale, but we've got a pretty reasonable Millennium Falcon. I want to get a hold of the Disney Parks Sandcrawler, which is bigger than the Hasbro Sandcrawler.
Yes, that is one on our wish list.
The series dedicated to HK units.
Because it's super funny, yeah. Yeah.
I love the was it Coated or Coffee, whichever one came first, the swamp scenes where HK has that whole chasing the bugs around.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely use the different. I don't have one on this girl actually. I've got a bunch of the different HK customizations as companions for a bunch of different some of my characters in SWTOR, because I just love the dialogue lines. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've got a couple. There's a couple of like titles and that related to him, which is fun.
Can I go Peter, get one more? I think.
Sorry. Yep. Oh, I've got mine.
No, we must have got that one on the last one. Yeah, just ticked over.
No. Yeah, 3 out of 6. Yeah, I didn't think I would actually ever get to the point where I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't announce something to do with Boba Fett. Like, I've always been sort of in the I want Kenobi camp. And of course I still do, but with the awesome appearances in The Mandalorian, I'm like, yeah, I could see a Boba Fett series. Barry says, sure to be another Slave 1 release. Yeah. Yeah, a HasLab Slave 1 would be pretty cool. I don't know how underscaled the sort of offerings from the Hasbro toy lines have been.
There's been 2 molds. There's been 2 molds, and yeah, I think they could go a little bit bigger. And trick it out. I mean, the interior for the Razor Crest, the interior detail is just crazy. They could totally trick out a Slave 1 with...
And now that we've seen more of the interior too.
Yeah.
I'd have to compare
that was really interesting. We kind of saw it, but we didn't quite see how it all fitted together. We saw the some aspects of it rotate as depending on the fight configuration, but we didn't quite fully see that, so that's interesting. The first appearance of the Slave 1
oh yeah,
last week was pretty well executed.
Yeah, that was like a mouth open gasp moment. It was like, what? Because yeah, when he that little tease at the end of the first episode, I was like, that could be almost like a little Easter egg for people. Like, if you were sort of a casual watcher of The Mandalorian, not really knowing much about Star Wars, you'd be like, oh, there's like, they might think it was like an unmasked Tusken or just some random character watching, you know, but for regular fans, they'd be like, I know that face. And even though it wasn't a complete unknown, like, you know, the pretty heavy rumors that he was on set, but you do have to wonder if they would possibly use him as a clone for the Ahsoka series.
Well, yeah, that rumor was floating around as well.
Yeah, because people are like, is it going to be Rex? Is it going to be a clone trooper? Or is it going to be, you know, Boba? And I'm like, ooh.
Just talking about Tython in chat there, that meme, the John Travolta meme that's floating around with the Jedi turn up to answer Grogu's call on Tython. Did make me chuckle. Put all that time and energy into putting a call out, but yeah, if anyone comes to respond,
they're just going to be like, empty planet. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, how are they going to wrap up that in just 1 hour? It's going to take them a fair while to like rescue him. How is that going to? How can they wrap it all up in 1 hour?
They'll wrap up the rescue, but they may or may not wrap up the whole what is his path from this point onwards. They might not wrap that aspect of it up. He'll be rescued from the Empire, half sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be that cool to go that level of cliffhanger.
I think the only thing that could have been better was if Mace Windu showed up to answer Grogu's call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was... Yeah. Oh, that was such an awesome moment. It just seems like they're just really good at knowing just the right sort of touches and things to include that people will recognize and get excited about. I mean, people have talked about, you know, Boba Fett being this super cool character but never really got to show off his skills in the films, and
it really is funny how that panned out back in the original trilogy. I mean, I remember the action figure and the action figure advertising, and he showed up in all sorts of little random places, and then had not much of an appearance in ESPN Return of the Jedi, to be honest. So it was kind of fun that see the story developed in the way that they have.
And it was kind of funny that they just low-key showed him up with his repainted armor. They didn't sort of like talk about it, like nobody made like a joke like, oh look, you like repainted your armor or something. It was just like, yeah, it's my armor, made it shiny again. It was so fun seeing him. He's still got sort of the lower half of his sort of his Tuscan robes on there a little bit, but
his underrobes are still that heavy. Those heavy cloth robes. He's got a bit of the skirt, the camo sort of thing going on. But yeah, it worked, and it was good to see. It was good to see the armor repainted. A little bit. It was a little bit unusual seeing it just minty fresh.
Yeah.
In that style, like we said, because I didn't actually notice whether or not he'd tweaked the dent in the helmet anywhere along the way.
No, I think I was just getting so distracted by looking at the freshly painted
his helmet at some point.
Yeah. See if there's any other sort of details. But yeah, he looks more
if he has
more sort of polished and sort of spiffy next to the shiny Mando Beskar.
Kind of brings up the question: why didn't he repaint it earlier? Because I wasn't fresh in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Whether he had a pretty serious rough up before we see him, like he didn't have time to sit down and sand it back and repaint it before tracking down the Falcon or something. It's like, hang on, I'll like tidy it up later. And this time, or whether he feels like it's some sort of symbolic, like restoring it to its former glory now that he's finally got it back and wants to sort of, take pride and care of it now that he's got it back. But I thought that was a really sort of fun touch. To add in there. This episode hasn't quite got the same I need to go back and watch this straight away vibe that the previous episode had with Boba Fett, like the whole fight scenes on Tython and the Dark Troopers and everything like that. But there was still some things just sort of really satisfying and fun about this episode, even though it had sort of, obviously some dark themes about sort of like the crimes of the Empire. And not that we, obviously knowing what happened to Alderaan and all that kind of stuff, we obviously know what the Empire is capable of, but just sort of having that sort of refreshed in your mind and hearing it from somebody that happened to be on the other side of that conflict. But it was just sort of one of those satisfying episodes that I really enjoyed.
Just a sidetrack. I'm looking at my companions and contacts interface here with the reorganization of the categories. I was just looking for my other companions they're a little bit shuffled around. Feel like doing anything else? We've got time. We could.
We've been doing this for nearly 2 hours. We could probably do another quick run.
Yeah, I reckon we should do something interesting. Let me see. It might have to be something like black hole, unless you got a planet that you favour.
Oh, my gear is so low on this go.
If you want something quickish, we could do Drum and Cast.
Oh yeah, Drum and Cast is fun.
Yeah.
Very Imperial. Yeah, I like that they made the.
I really dug Drum and Cast back in the first few weeks of playing this game when it came out. Just moving into a planet, removed from the arid desert and stone of Korriban to the actual visible rain and puddles and water on the ground of Drum and Cast. I really dug it in the old days. How in some ways it took a long time to move on from planet to planet, so when you actually got to a new planet it was quite novel. Perhaps
for our next one we should take a look at the cutscenes for the Aceles and Black Talon flashpoints are upgraded.
Yeah.
I'll have to run those through soon. I mean, they're like, you can just about run those with your eyes closed these days, but I still enjoy them.
We do them on easy mode, then we don't have to think while we're talking.
Yeah.
So, talking and thinking at the same time as well.
Start at the top?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, you just had to do your story and plan it just to unpack. I know. And,
Oh,
and if
man,
you weren't careful,
it
you'd
was-
actually get
Oh,
underleveled.
stomped on, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, those were the days, eh?
That was
Nowadays,
so much. Kids, I don't know how easy they've got it. You know,
well, you
speed
had to
leveling it,
run
speedering at
everywhere
level 10, yeah.
with your funny walks. That was funny. Yeah.
Probably a few people in chat that don't know what we're talking about. If you've not been in the game, but the quality of life aspects of the game has changed quite a lot. It was a really slow grind back in the day to just do some
Even though
basic
you
stuff.
still left Tython.
You'd actually need to use med packs in the old day.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't remember the last time I used a med pack. Maybe I don't have many characters that still have them in their bar at all.
I'm still superstitious, eh? I still carry mine, even though I like never touch them. Like every maybe once in a while, I'll like have a panic moment where I accidentally like grab a few too many mobs at once. Particularly a couple of my characters that have the really long reach, and I'll go like on the last hit, and I'll accidentally catch like another mob behind me. If I'm like on an undergeared character, I play too many ults, so I've got to work on gearing them up a little more. I think only my main two have really got decentish gear. The rest of them I'm just sort of playing for funsies. I only did that when I had Treat as a companion. Yeah, this girl's I think I rolled her. This girl's one of my most recent rolls. I really fell in love with this particular armor, so I had to have it. I don't have as many sort of Mandalorian themed characters, so I decided that I was going to roll a whole new character for this one. Are we done with this one?
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, good grief. I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I didn't either.
I was like, don't we have like more people to kill? Okay then. Off we go. Yeah. You must not do raids. Yeah, no. Says you need mid packs.
Oh, yeah.
Hard mode and nightmare punish people not using them. Healers aren't always going to keep you alive. Yes, that is true. We used to do. We were in a hard mode progression group with a bunch of New Zealand-based raiders. We were known as Black Squad, but when our main tank and healer retired from the game, it was in that sort of awkward phase where there wasn't a new op for quite some time, and they felt there was a few other games that they wanted to play more that had that kind of operation push, so they retired from playing SWTOR, unfortunately. So we haven't really been brave enough to do ops for quite a while. I can't remember what the last one was that we did. We'd done the Dread Fortress, Dread Palace, we'd done the Revan fight.
Stuff.
We did Ravagers. Yeah. Was Rishi the last one we did, was it?
Yeah. Possibly.
No, because we did the Revan fights after Rishi.
Yeah,
but I think it was...
ICAF we haven't done.
Yeah, the Gods of the Machine. It was when they started releasing that one boss at a time. We never did that one. And I know I really want to get back into it because I really did enjoy the challenge of it, even though, you'd wipe and you'd get to sort of, take a while getting the mechanics right. I do miss it. I enjoy the sort of tastes of it during the I know they were super easy, but I did enjoy just the group aspect of doing the world bosses during the recent Cantina event. That was fun, taking those on, even though there were of course easy fights. But I got to get a couple of people like really well geared and then jump into
Man, it's good that
Scalpel says, when I started them, I made a silly decision for a first raid. It was Dread Fortress. Was very surprised when Bronte's one hit me. Oh yeah, they were hard, those ones back in the day. I remember we got stuck. Our group could do, what's the one? It's been so long. I can't remember if it's Dread Palace or Dread Fortress. The one with the Dreadmaster that has the arms of the Architect at the end. And we could do it in hard mode, but we never beat the final boss in hard mode. We never beat Bronte's in hard mode. We got stuck in that one, and we never quite. And I was so gutted because our group sort of disbanded before we ever started, before we got that one down, because I really, really, really wanted the speeder, the wings of the Architect. I'm like, they added a bunch of cool things like Ravagers. I'm pretty sure it's Ravagers that has the Rancor with the
Dread Fortress, yeah.
The Rancor that's got like the metal on him. Yep. I loved that fight and I wanted that speeder, but I don't know if it dropped at the time or we didn't get up to doing hard mode or whatever it was that dropped it. I'm like, so many cool things I want from that only drop from the ops. Like, I want the red sphere. I know it's like a really rare drop, but the one that drops from Xenoanalyst during the Gree. I have the others, but I never got the red one. I want the red one. And I'm a bit... I know I've got to get my gearing and all my augments are a bit of a shambles. I've got to work on that before I dare have the bravery to queue for an op. I've got a bit to go. I guess what happened was we'd spent so much... it was a good couple of years. It felt like we spent really focusing on raid progression that I didn't play story like at all for what felt like ages. And then after our raiding squad sort of disbanded, then it didn't feel like it was that long before Kotet and Kopfi, and that just kept me so busy playing the story on like a bunch of alts. And just got really sort of sucked into the story, which doesn't really require you to go hardcore on the gearing. So I've gotten a bit lax with my gearing. Wings is from Nightmare Mode, Dread Fortress. I don't think I'm ever going to be brave enough from Nightmare Mode. I'd love to try. There's a couple of characters that I always used to raid on my Lightning Sork. I felt like I knew her quite well. She was the because it was a Imperial progression raid squad. My other main is a Watchman Sentinel, which I'm always really nervous about melee in ops. I'm always terrified of standing in something or being really close to the boss. I felt like as a Sork, I could hang back, I could run, I could invincible if I really needed it, you know, like I had a few, I could self-heal, I could cleanse. I sort of felt like I wasn't quite so much, you know, like I could take some of the heat off the healers by being able to sort of, you know, throw a quick insta-heal on myself and run out of fire and whatever. Yeah, Knights gives you planet level gear. You never have to worry about being undergeared. Yeah. I like, in some ways, I almost miss how hard it was. I remember the very, very first, like, month or so playing the game, and I came up to the very first end of Chapter 1 fight with my very first character, the Jedi Knight story, and... You know, it was my first time playing an MMO. I was still just kind of, you know, getting really stuck into the game. And I couldn't for the life of me get past that first fight. And I had to, like, look up and people were like, oh, you do this and do that. And I felt a little bit stupid. But then, of course, the fights were hard back then. If you weren't ready and geared
really
for those sort of end of chapter fights, they would get you. And yeah, not so much these days. But at the same time, I do appreciate just being able to relax and enjoy the story. Though I am keen to check out the new Flashpoint. I tried it a little bit on the PTS. Did I pick up the other rune? I think I did. How many are left?
How many what?
Runes. I've got 3 left. 3.
Yeah,
3 left to pick up?
Yep.
Okay, good. I was like totally just stroking out. Until you do the chapter 9 fight and get face formed by Valen. She is hard. That one, oh yeah. Some of those fights. I remember the first time I went into the Arkan fight with the shield, and I had not read up anything, and I spent like a good half hour shrieking and running around the room because I had no idea what was going on. And I don't think you even have your companion in that fight or something. I just remember being absolutely terrified. It was a really scary fight. And I just went into it completely blind. I didn't read mechanics or anything. I was just like, once I made the mistake of setting a Knight's chapter to veteran, didn't realize it until the first. Oh yeah, I don't. Oh, have I tried? I think you've tried a couple of them in the different difficulty modes.
Yeah.
I haven't been brave enough to do that. Eh?
But it's a slow. It's so much slower. Even if you manage it, it's so much slower.
I know I'll try it at some point, but yeah, I've still got. I'm there's so much to do in this game. I'm easily distracted. I think I've finished Kotet copy on 4 people out of what am I up to? 35? Oh, am I up to 35?
35 characters.
I'm losing track. Me plotting new characters as well. Now my best tune runs Knights and Veteran, haven't died once. Wow. That's impressive. I do okay with my 50 affection liner. Yeah, the people that I take through Kotet and Kopfi, I try and, particularly because I know you lose all your companions, I have gone through the process of getting a droid or a beast cartel market companion to, I know they're not always the strongest of healers. They don't sort of have the crowd control abilities that some of them have. But I like running with at least a 50 companion if I'm going to do those fights. At the moment, my girl has, what is her treek? My treek's only 11 on this girl because I only recently decided that she was going to have a treek. My other bounty hunter has the HK with the bounty hunter broker customization on it.
I like that one.
With the bandolier and stuff, so he looks different.
A little bit IG inspired.
And then what's my other bounty hunter go? Oh, the Gamorrean Guard is on my power tech. And
you got
then,
an axe?
Huh? Yes, yeah, with an axe. So glad I bought that back in the day. And who has got my? So Noridia's got HK. Denara. Kamiro is using. I think she's using the the Exobore. It's the beast with the sort of metal plates on its head. Are you gonna do the puzzle?
Yeah, I got them lined up.
Okay, cool, thanks. So yeah, I try to give. There's a couple that don't have one, but I've tried to give all my companions. Treek is stupid broken healing. Okay, yeah. I know that there's differences between the sort of different companions and which ones. I've heard. I think I saw people in chat talking about how Zoom is a good one for healing. I haven't. There's a couple of times where I've noticed that fights feel harder with different characters in terms of healing and stuff. One of the ones Zoom is a better healer than Treek, but Treek is still good. Oh, that's good to know. I don't often run really, really hard content to kind of stress The ones where I notice it the most is the Zildrog fight. That one still stresses me out. I find that one quite hard. Particularly with my Jedi Sentinel that doesn't have any of my characters that don't have a really good AoE knockback to get those things off the ledge. I find that one a little bit hard, and she doesn't have self-heals as well. And what was the other thing that I find hard? Oh, I've forgotten. I was getting distracted thinking about the
Oh, there's someone over there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There was something the other day that I was thinking it felt a little hard. And I want to get a little bit better at PvP, but I'm always like, I play PvE so much, I haven't really specced up anyone in particular to be really good at PvP with stuns and things. Oh, that's what it was, the pirate event. Those the heroics. They suck, they're really hard. With specific companions, because we just run them together, the two of us, so not in a group of 4, so that's the one I really notice it. Those ones really depend what companions you've got. I don't know why.
Just talking about Zoom in the chat there. I quite like that Zoom, the HK chapter where you get Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both subscribers,
that's
so we've had her for a while, but I haven't actually specced her up very high on any of my people. But I keep hearing people talking about her, so I'm like, yeah, I gotta look up to see which see which gifts she likes and get her up high on somebody. Because I've got a bunch of people that don't have a level 50 companion on it. But yeah, I spent entirely far too much time in the underwater sections of that chapter.
Looking at fish.
Well, there's a shark under the water, and I was convinced that there was like something you could do with it. Oh, I'm still fighting over here. And so I spent all this time underwater climbing on all these pipes, trying to get close to the shark, and I discovered that it actually it often kind of stays in place until you get close to it and then it moves. So I spent all this time climbing around on pipes trying to jump on this giant Phyrexian shark, and it just kept moving just a little bit out of place because I was like convinced that there was like this network of pipes, and if you climbed around enough you could get up high enough that you could jump down on the shark, but it never comes close enough to you to do that. I was so gutted. But I kept taking screenshots of all the giant clumps of fish that would go by. It just reminded me so much of some of the really fun Manan, the Manan sort of section from the original KOTOR game, where you like got to go out in your little underwater suit and fix things on Manan and find the Star Fortress map piece. It just felt fun. So I've got like all these screenshots of random little computer game fish in my big gallery of screenshots. Where's the other ship? Over here.
Yep, over here.
Yeah, there's some fun moments in that extra chapter, but the most thing I remember is the fish and the shark. I don't know how long I wasted hunting that shark. That was funny. There are some really cool environments in this game. I get far too distracted admiring the views and the caves and cool sculptures and structures and things.
Yeah,
I need to do like a big sort through of all my screenshots of all my random little postcard photos that I take from different planets and post them online somewhere. My postcards from around the galaxy.
Yeah, just when you think they can't really make something different and interesting, they pull something out of the bag. I really like what they did with Kapira and Athena.
I love the Kapira Flashpoint.
There's something about the textures, the complexity of the textures. I mean, textures in the game have gotten better over time anyway. The whole depth of detail on the actual armor that you wear is really amped up from the early days where everything was just two-dimensional and just painted on your body.
Yeah. Yeah, the new characters, like Empress Asina and things like that, like their detail is... And I've seen some photos from the most recent content expansion and the detail looks amazing. I'm itching to sit down and play that new content. I've just got a little bit of...
Yeah, we might get some of that online. We can't... This ship over here kind of vaguely reminds me of a Razor Crest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm planning to do it tomorrow, I think.
We might be able to stream some of it, we just can't do it together because
it's story. Yeah, so we play it separately and
play in the different classes.
Yeah,
but
I've still got just a little bit of story to wrap up on my main. She hasn't done the I think it's Chikaya Auto she hasn't done.
Yeah, that's a couple of seconds, just conversations.
Yeah, and then I'll be ready. I'm always like slightly nervous when it comes to the new content because I'm always worried that I'm gonna make like a wrong decision on my main. So sometimes I'll like pick one of my other characters to play it first. Because the first time I've got a couple of characters that are pure dark side no matter what, and I was not expecting some of those early decisions to have such permanent consequences. That there are, a fair amount of characters that you can't... Can you grab that button? That there are characters that you can't keep as your companion if you go full dark side. And on the flip side, there's characters you can't recruit if you're light side. So, the companions that my main Jedi is pure light and my main Sith is pure dark, so they have quite vastly different companion pools. So I don't know if I'm actually going to play it first through on my main Jedi. I'm a bit almost a bit nervous to play it. So we've done the
I'm looking forward to it because I don't know if anyone in chat's done them yet, but I've only heard good things. Don't spoil it for us, but I've only heard good things about the expanded content.
Yeah.
Alright, last fight.
Light
for
warriors
Cass.
cannot recruit Darkside Jacer. Ah.
Yeah, sounds about right. Are you in?
I am in now.
Because I'm fighting.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait for me. I think it's interesting that that new series coming on Disney Plus is called The Acolyte, because that always just immediately makes me think of SWTOR, and I'm like, I wonder if we're gonna see like some sort of old Republic, old Sith elements in there. Yeah.
Sith. They wouldn't use that word carelessly, I don't think.
Darkside J says Bay. I've rolled a light side Juggernaut, but I haven't played her story to the point where she's recruited Jacer. I deliberately rolled a warrior to be pure light side so that I could specifically get a different, because my other one is pure dark, because she's my other Juggernaut's a pure blood, so I want to play her dark side. So I was like, that's Jacer is that one companion that has that dark light sort of dual different sort of paths where you can't do one or the other, like it's locked in. But I haven't played the light side one yet. I'm easily distracted. I honestly think Darkside Jace's only goal is just destruction of everyone she meets. She sounds like she'd be a good My daughter teases me because my main Sith Sork is like, she's pure dark side. She's like, I play her pretty ruthlessly as a Sith because, you know, sometimes it's fun to play the bad girl. And she teases me because I used her, the pure dark side Sith, to get the Bormu legacy achievement where you've got to go around slaughtering all the Bormu creatures on Balmorra. She still teases me about it, that I was going around. I don't know how long I did. I was doing it in a circuit, so I was basically just slaughtering Bormu for like an hour. So I kind of, yeah, in our household, my dark side Sork has a reputation. For being fairly evil, but I do not want the horrible person achievement for killing Speedy the turtle. Because Rishi is the home of my Jedi, so she's keeping Speedy the turtle. My Sith is not gonna kill him.
Not that evil.
No. Yeah. Where is this Speedy? On the beach of the Rishi stronghold. If you stand there for a little while.
You can probably go there quickly.
Okay, we finished here? Yeah,
we finished Rumcast.
Yeah, I'll go find Speedy the turtle. He's super cute. He's my main. It's actually the same little model, in-game model as the I think it's just called Juvenile Turtle. There's a pet that has the same sort of shape. It's just a cute, detailed.
If you key, I'll follow along.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, take it easy, Barry.
Thanks so much for joining us. Keyring. Let's see. Keys. Which one are you on at the moment? You're on Toombs, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, Hadron has a key to this one. Did you get that one? Okay.
Yep.
I'll go down to the beach with haste. I'll go down on my cool abseiling equipment. I'll go find Speedy the turtle. I haven't been down on my beach in a while, honestly. I like spend all this time decorating it with all these cool Mandalorian tents. And then my characters never come down here. Hey, little guy. Here's little Speedy the turtle. He's fairly speedy for a turtle. It's a fitting name. It's a really cute little thing. But I know that there was a way to it's something to do with Scritchy, I think. The Rakghoul sort of small little Rakghoul pet that's inside the Odessan base. There's some way to basically bring Scritchy to your strongholds, and he basically kills and replaces Speedy as the creature on your beach. But I decided that Speedy the turtle is too cute, and I don't want the horrible person title, so I keep Speedy on my beach. He's really cute. It's one of those sort of more modern, detailed pets.
I don't think there's anything else quite like it in any other stronghold, is there?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to just rack my brain.
I haven't gone fully exploring. There's some achievement to do with I remember looking it up. There's something to do with the Alderaan stronghold, and I was like, I didn't know what that was. There's where is it in my legacy? There was something I remember looking it up, and I was like, I didn't know you could do that. My legacy window's a bit of a lag. What's that?
Oh, I can't remember how long his path is where he turns around. Does he go around the corner?
Star fortresses. I don't remember. Strongholds. There's something to do with the collect Killick mound materials from the Ruhr Killick hivewoods, so you can build your own mounds. It says 0 out of 10 Killick mound material, and then it gives you a Killick mound reward chest. Contains special armor pieces only available from cartel packs. Contains a collection of Killick mound decorations from your stronghold. And I'm like,
but you can
what?
select the density of Killicks in Alderaan, can't you?
What's that?
You can select the density of Killicks in Alderaan, can't you?
Yeah, but I didn't know that you could actually harvest something. Because here's the manage to get Speedy eaten within your Rishi hideout stronghold, and it's get 0 out of 1. You are a horrible person, and it gives you the legacy title, horrible person. Where is Speedy?
He's over here. He's turning around. He goes around the tree. You've got a whole lot of stuff there to wander through.
Oh. Does he go right through it? Does he?
A little bit.
Yeah, he's so cute.
He's underwater now.
I haven't decorated, like, I get fully invested in decorating my strongholds, and then I kind of, like, peter out. I go hard out, like, decorating huge chunks of my strongholds. So I did the entire house, sort of house section of Rishi, and the beach, and some of the bits around where you load in, and then kind of stopped. I really do like the bits that I've decorated, but I haven't gone out the back. I think I unlocked out the back. I know I haven't done the ship. My daughter keeps telling me that I need to unlock the ship up in the sky. Oh, you can see it from up here. Yeah, I haven't unlocked it, so I'm pretty sure I unlocked all the Alderaan places, but I kept trying to decide, because Alderaan had several buildings, and I couldn't decide which building I wanted my home base to be, because I really like one of the smaller ones out the back. See, I've got my rotating orb thingy from the Revan flashpoint on the top of that building. I can't remember what it's called. What is it called? Replica Sacrificial Sphere from Temple of Sacrifice. That's what it was. That's the Revan one. I can never remember what they're called, but yeah. That was a fun fight back in the day. That felt quite satisfying to defeat the Darth Revan in the operation.
All right. Well, I've spotted Speedy. I think we're probably done for the night in terms of dailies. And tomorrow we may get tomorrow or over the weekend we may get some streaming going on. Taking a look at new content or other things.
I feel like I need more Mandalore decorations out here, because I've made it very Mandalorian with like all these Mandalore tents, and then I've got like Jedi statue.
Well, there's a few more options you could put.
And this is Sith statue.
I
feel like I need like a Mandalore statue here. I need to get one.
Yeah, there's a few good options for that. You should look into it. Get more of a thing going.
Yeah. I spent so long. Like I had like, what one is that one out there? Is that the Woodbreaker Monolith? Yeah, out there in the water. I think I had him on the beach for a while. He kind of took up a lot of space. And every now and again I go on these big splurges where I start buying up a lot of decos and then don't know what to do. I need to I know you've collected a lot more decos than I have. I've been a bit lacking with some of my ones. They keep putting out really good packs, and then I get sad because I can't afford them. I think the last one I bought was the Alderaan pack that came out when the strongholds were released. I haven't bought any decorations direct from the Cardinal Market since then. Sad. I need more better ones.
So you pack your character up here and you buy your Sparkle, are you?
Yeah, I love my Sparkle. I often park my people in here, because every time I log in they're like back in the doorway anyway. So it's like they just woke up and they're like, yes, I shall come have breakfast in my Sparkle.
Alright, I'm gonna go pack this guy. He's nice in our house.
Okay.
So there's one more episode of Mandalorian. We'll run a little bit of content and have a bit of a chat after that screens. I think there may be some interesting conversations. Come up with some emotion and some, hopefully not too much of a sort of challenge. If there's a cliffhanger, but interesting conversations next week, I'm sure.
Mm.
So, yeah, stay tuned for around about this time next week. But between now and then, we'll do some other just SWTOR content, and we generally, one way or another, have a bit of a chat. If you want some of the new content, we'll probably focus on SWTOR conversations, but we generally find ourselves talking about Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
Particularly when there's been a lot of news coming out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about after next week's Mandalorian episode. I'm almost nervous for that episode.
Yeah, it's out of our hands, obviously, so we've got to take it as it comes. But yeah, it'll be fun. And then after that, I think the same time slot's going to be occupied by the gallery behind the scenes series, which I presume they'll have 8 episodes of.
We saw a little glimpse of some of the behind the scenes when during the investor stream they were talking about the building the digital sets. They had a few little snippets of footage of some of the season 2 Mando episodes on the digital set, like the fishing port where we saw the Mon Calamari, and we could see that on the digital set. That was kind of fun. So yeah, I hope we get a good look at some of the behind the scenes. Some of these sets and scenes, it's really hard to tell what's a digital set, what's on location somewhere. I'm hoping they've got lots of good footage to share with us once the season's all wrapped up.
Cool. So let's wrap things up there for now, and thank you for everybody that's jumped in and has been listening. We really appreciate conversations we've been having, and having you on board as we mix it up with a bit of old Star Wars lore and a bit of new Star Wars lore.
Yep.
So really good to see you again down the line as we carry on with this routine.
Yep. I'm sure we'll be streaming a little bit of the new content coming up soon as well. Definitely keen to dive in there and play it, because our daughter streams SWTOR on Twitch as well, under her username Jalari Rinsell, and so she jumped in and played the new expansion as soon as it came out, and she's super keen to talk to us and like gush about the exciting plot developments. So being grown-up parents, we've got a few more real life commitments than she does, so we'll be able to play that over the weekend and get stuck back into the story. So we'll do a bit more streaming. But thank you all so much for coming along and hearing us ramble on about our favorite Mando moments and the news from Disney Plus and just general Star Wars fun.
Yeah, so we'll see you all next time, and until then, take it easy.
And may the Force be with you.